Anger can strike like a wave that leaves you gasping for air. The heat in your chest, the noise in your head, those moments can ruin your day. What if you could break free from that cycle and stay calm no matter what? Imagine feeling centered even when someone mocks you or insults your efforts. This video will show you how to build a mindset that blocks anger before it starts. You'll learn specific steps to protect your emotions and stay focused on what matters most. By the end, you will understand how to respond instead of reacting, and how to keep your peace even when life tests you. Real people use these methods to transform their relationships, their work, and their self-esteem. You deserve that freedom too. If you are ready to stop letting anger control you, keep watching. Your new reality starts right now, and live your best life. Number 1, control your reaction by breathing deeply before you speak. You ever get so angry that your whole body feels like it's burning on the inside? You clench your jaw, your heart's racing, your hands shake, and no matter how hard you try to hide it, the emotion takes over. That moment right there, it can ruin your whole day. One person, one sentence, one insult, and just like that, you've handed over all your control. That's a dangerous way to live, and I know what it's like because I've been there. But I also know the way out. You don't need to shout. You don't need to fight. You don't even need to win an argument. What you need is control, not over the other person, over yourself. Because the moment you lose control, they win. And the truth is, nobody can make you angry unless you give them permission. Nobody can push your buttons unless you hand them the remote. And that's exactly what we do every time we react without thinking. Now, how do you fix it? It's not magic. It's not about pretending to be calm when you're not. It's about using a small, powerful habit that will shift everything. The moment you feel that heat rise in your chest, the moment your stomach tightens and your fists clench, stop. Don't say a word. Don't roll your eyes. Don't respond. Just breathe, slowly, deeply. I'm talking about a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Not once. Do it again and again, at least 3 times. Why? Because when you breathe deeply, you interrupt the body's automatic stress response. Your brain slows down. The fog clears. You come back to yourself. That's how you take your power back. That's how you stop the madness before it begins. Most people don't even know how much they're ruled by impulse. They react without thinking, then regret it for days. They say things they can't take back. They hurt people, or worse, they hurt themselves, all because they didn't stop to breathe. I've seen great men ruin their careers because they didn't pause before speaking. I've seen families fall apart because someone said something in anger they never meant. I've seen young people lose opportunities, not because they weren't talented, but because they couldn't control their temper. That's how real this is. This is not just about peace of mind. It's about your future. It's about your relationships. It's about your ability to succeed in a world that is going to test you again and again. You see, there's a part of your brain that's always ready to protect you. It reacts fast, fight or flight, and it doesn't care about being reasonable. It just wants to defend. That's why your body tenses. That's why your words shoot out without filter. That's why you feel like you're about to explode. But you are not a machine. You are not a slave to that impulse. You can train your mind to pause. You can teach yourself to step away from the fire and think clearly. And it starts with breathing. Just 3 deep breaths. It sounds simple, but it works. Because those 3 breaths give you time. They give you space. They give you a small window where you can choose a different response. You can choose not to yell. You can choose not to attack. You can choose to stay quiet. And silence is not weakness. It's strength. It's power. Real strength is not needing to prove anything to anybody. Real power is being able to walk away and still feel in control. I'm telling you, the strongest people are not the loudest in the room. They are the ones who can stay calm in chaos. They are the ones who don't let other people's energy shape their own. That's emotional discipline. And it's one of the most valuable skills you can ever develop, because life will never stop throwing challenges at you. People will test you. Situations will frustrate you. You will be misunderstood. You will be lied to. You will be treated unfairly. But that's not what defines you. What defines you is how you choose to respond. When someone disrespects you and you choose not to react, that's power. When someone mocks you and you respond with silence and focus, that's control. When someone tries to push your buttons and you're too steady to be moved, that's freedom. Because now you're not living based on how others act. You're living based on your own values. You're not handing out your peace to every fool who tries to take it. You're guarding your emotions like they matter, because they do. I've met people who think anger is strength, that yelling is confidence, that putting someone in their place is dominance. They're wrong. Anger is easy. Yelling is lazy. Dominance, that depends on fear, always collapses. The real strength is in the man or woman who stays calm when others lose their heads. The one who chooses peace, not because they're afraid to fight, but because they know not every fight is worth it. You win nothing by being the loudest. You win everything by staying grounded. That's why I say start with the breath, because if you can master those 3 seconds before you speak, you'll change your whole life. You'll start to see things clearly. You'll begin to notice that most things that used to bother you don't even deserve your attention. You'll stop reacting to people who don't even know you. You'll stop letting their energy invade your space. You'll live better, think clearer, sleep deeper. You're not here to please everyone. You're not here to fight everyone. You're here to grow. And to grow, you must protect your focus. You must guard your heart. You must learn to deal with people without losing yourself in the process. And no tool is more powerful for that than learning to breathe through the storm. I don't mean breathe just to calm down. I mean breathe to stay awake. Breathe to stay aware. Breathe so you don't become the very thing you're trying to avoid. You don't need to yell back to win. You don't need to insult to feel strong. You don't need to argue to be heard. What you need is to pause and take back your space. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone a reaction. You don't owe anyone an explanation in the heat of the moment. You owe yourself clarity. You owe yourself calm. You owe yourself control. This world is loud. People will throw their problems at you. They will dump their pain onto you. They will look for ways to make you feel small. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can join them in the noise, or you can rise above it. You can shout back, or you can breathe. And every time you breathe instead of react, you grow. You get stronger. You get wiser. You get one step closer to becoming the person you were always meant to be. So next time you feel that fire rising, breathe. Don't give them your energy. Don't give them your power. Take a deep breath and stay calm. That's how you win. That's how you stay free. And that's how you build a life that nothing and no one can shake. Number 2, focus on your goals instead of their behavior. If you keep letting other people's behavior control your mood, your focus, and your day, you will never build the life you came here to live. That's the truth. Every second you waste reacting to someone who doesn't understand you is a second you've stolen from your own future. You can't afford that anymore. Not if you're serious about growing. Not if you're trying to build something real for yourself. The people who mock you, ignore you, disrespect you, talk behind your back, they're not the problem. The problem is you giving them your focus. And that stops now. You weren't born to be dragged down by other people's weakness. You weren't put on this earth to manage their moods, to guess their intentions, or to prove anything to anyone. Your job is to stay locked in on your goals. That's it. Because your goals are the only thing that belong to you. Everything else is noise. You have to learn how to shut out the noise. You have to stop caring what they think, what they say, how they act, and what they feel about you. You've got a mission. That mission should be so powerful it pulls you out of every distraction. It's easy to say you're focused until someone disrespects you, until someone rolls their eyes, until they talk down to you or ignore your effort. Then what? Do you throw away the day to respond? Do you forget why you started and give in to the emotion? Or do you rise above it and stay locked in? That's the test, and it happens every single day. You can't get away from it. You will always have people who push your buttons. You will always have people who try to knock you off track. And you have to decide what matters more, your emotions or your vision. A lot of people lose years chasing arguments that don't matter, trying to change someone's opinion, trying to win approval from people who never really cared. And what do they get in return? Frustration, distraction, delays, missed opportunities, wasted time. You think someone who's locked in on building their dream is out here arguing with every person who questions them? No, they don't even see it. They've trained their mind to stay on the path, and that's what you've got to do too. You see, this is not just about managing your emotions. This is about building mental toughness, the kind of toughness that keeps you moving when people talk. when they laugh, when they doubt. You've got to want your goal more than you want to feel right. You've got to want progress more than you want to prove a point. Because here's the truth, they don't care. The people who push your buttons, they're not invested in your outcome. They don't care if you succeed or fail, but you should. So why give them your energy? Think about the time you've spent going back and forth in your head about what someone said. You replay the conversation. You wonder what you should have said. You think about how it made you feel. And all the while, your goals are sitting in the corner collecting dust. The gym didn't happen. The reading didn't happen. The focus didn't happen. You lost a day to a moment that should have never taken your power in the first place. You don't get that day back. That's the cost of distraction. That's the price of giving your attention to people who don't matter. It's not just about how it makes you feel. It's about what it robs you of. When you're focused on your goals, you don't have time to be angry. You don't have time to explain yourself. You don't have time to get even. Your energy is sacred. You guard it by keeping your eyes forward. Now, I'm not saying ignore every situation. I'm not saying don't stand up for yourself when it matters. What I'm saying is know the difference between what's worth your focus and what's not. Some things deserve your full presence. But most things, most arguments, most criticisms, most passive-aggressive looks and comments, they deserve nothing. No response, no emotion, no space in your mind. When you start prioritizing your goals over your need to be understood, you start winning. When you start showing up for your vision instead of every pointless conflict, you start building momentum. And that's where the transformation happens. Because every time you ignore the nonsense and focus on your purpose, you build strength. You're saying, I'm not here for drama, I'm here to evolve, I'm here to build, I'm here to get better. The truth is, the most successful people are the ones who've trained their mind to keep moving no matter what people say. They don't argue, they don't defend, they don't engage. Because they know the goal is bigger than the emotion. They've learned to delay their need to react in favor of progress. They've learned how to turn down the volume on the world and turn up the volume on their mission. You want to know how to stay calm? Stay focused. You want to stop getting bothered by people? Stay locked in on your vision. You want to stop overreacting to every little thing? Start giving your mind something big to work on. The more meaningful your goal is to you, the less impact people's opinions have. The more committed you are to your path, the less tempted you'll be to get pulled off it by distractions. Most people don't have a goal that pulls them. That's why they get stuck in petty arguments. That's why they care too much about what people think. That's why they chase validation instead of purpose. If your goal isn't strong enough, the noise will feel louder. So don't just try to ignore people. Build a goal that's so powerful, you don't even notice them. Your goal should excite you. It should wake you up in the morning with purpose. It should make you feel alive. If it doesn't, you need a bigger goal. One that makes the drama look small. One that makes the distractions look like dust on your path. The bigger your dream, the smaller the noise becomes. And remember, your time is limited. Every minute you spend focused on someone else's behavior is a minute you're not investing in your own growth. You only get so many days. Spend them building. Spend them getting sharper. Spend them creating something you'll be proud of. Stop trying to fix people who don't want to change. Stop trying to make people see your worth. Just do the work. Let your discipline speak for you. Let your results silence the noise. People can say what they want, but they can't deny what you've built. They can't argue with consistency. They can't argue with your improvement. So stay on your path. Stay focused. Don't lose your peace for people who wouldn't lose a minute of sleep for you. You came here for more. You know it. Deep down, you know you're meant for something greater than getting caught up in other people's behavior. So prove it. Show up for your goals. Keep building, even when it's hard. Stay focused, even when they laugh. Keep moving, even when they try to pull you down. And when the temptation comes to argue, to react, to defend, pause and ask yourself, does this bring me closer to who I want to become? Or does it just pull me back into the old version of me that I'm leaving behind? You get to choose every single time. And when you choose your goal over their behavior, you win every single time. So make that choice today, and then make it again tomorrow and the day after that, because your future is counting on it. Number 3, train your mind to stay calm in conflict. There is a strength most people never build, the strength to stay calm while everything around you tries to pull you into chaos. And until you train your mind to do that, conflict will own you. It will push your buttons, shake your focus, and drain your energy. But when you master staying calm in conflict, you become dangerous in the best way. Because now no one can control you. The truth is, conflict is everywhere. People will test your limits. They'll say things they don't mean. They'll raise their voice, push your boundaries, question your character. But how you respond determines whether you grow or stay stuck. When you match their chaos with more chaos, you lose. Not just emotionally, you lose mentally, physically, and spiritually. Because every time you react without control, you let them lead you. And leaders don't let outside noise shake their internal strength. A calm mind doesn't mean a weak mind. A calm mind is a trained mind. It's the result of discipline, of self-awareness, of choosing not to hand your power to every argument. You don't train calmness in peace. You train it right in the middle of the storm. When people talk down to you, when they try to embarrass you, when they hit your pressure points, that's the training ground. Most people panic. They raise their voice. They defend. They explode. You don't. You stay grounded. You watch. You listen. And you respond only when it serves your values. This is not about being passive. This is about being deliberate. There's a big difference. Staying calm in conflict means you see the bigger picture. You don't need to win every moment. You don't need to prove you're right because you're focused on something higher than your ego. You're focused on your growth, on your reputation, on your peace. And peace is powerful. Most people think it's soft, but it's rare. And the rare things are always the most valuable. Let me be honest with you. If you don't train your mind for conflict, life will keep knocking you over. You'll carry stress into your relationships. You'll let your temper hurt the people you love. You'll replay arguments for days, and none of that brings you peace. It brings regret. It brings shame. But when you start training your response, everything changes. You breathe before reacting. You think before speaking. You understand the situation before you choose a response. That's power. That's leadership. And here's what's hard for most people. Sometimes staying calm feels like you're backing down, but you're not. You're leveling up. You're choosing not to carry the poison someone else tried to hand you. You're choosing strength over reaction. And that's not always easy, especially when the person in front of you is loud, aggressive, or trying to trigger you. But you've got to remember something. Your reaction is not about them. It's about you, who you are, who you're becoming, who you refuse to be. If you want to stop being controlled by conflict, you need to prepare your mind for those moments before they happen. Don't wait for the argument to try to stay calm. You won't. That's like trying to lift heavy weights without training. You'll collapse under pressure. So train now. Train in traffic. Train when someone cuts in front of you. Train when you get interrupted, when someone sends a passive-aggressive message. These are your chances to practice control. And each time you hold your peace, you build inner power. You don't need to attend every conflict you're invited to. You don't need to answer every attack. Some people are stuck in cycles of pain, and they want you to join them. Don't. That's not your path. Your path is clarity, stability, progress, and you won't find that in emotional chaos. You find that in calm decisions, in staying grounded, in walking away from what doesn't deserve your energy. And I'll tell you something else. You don't owe anyone a reaction. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone who misunderstands you. You don't have to argue your intentions with people who are committed to misreading you. It's not your job to fix everyone's perception. It's your job to protect your mind and build your future. If they don't get it, they don't get it. But don't let their confusion destroy your focus. Some of the most successful people you'll ever meet are the calmest in pressure. That's not by accident. That's training. They've learned that emotional outbursts cost them too much. They've lost deals by reacting too fast. They've hurt relationships by speaking too soon. And they've rebuilt their lives by learning to slow down and breathe through the conflict. You can learn that too. And when you do, you'll stop being shaken by every disagreement. You'll start seeing things clearly. You'll be able to tell when someone is projecting their own pain, when someone is trying to control you with guilt, when someone is baiting you into losing your temper so they can feel powerful. You'll see it, and you'll refuse to play the game. Because you've already decided that your peace matters more than your pride, that your future matters more than winning a single argument. The truth is, not every battle is worth fighting. Some are designed to distract you, to keep you busy with things that don't move your life forward. And when you keep choosing calm, you rise above it. You gain time, energy, and clarity. You gain the ability to make decisions that move your life forward, instead of decisions that come from pain and fear. But none of this happens overnight. You've got to practice. You've got to be honest with yourself. When do you lose control? When do you snap? What situations throw you off balance? Don't avoid them. Study them. Prepare for them. Rehearse how you'll respond differently next time. Because it's not about pretending to be calm. It's about becoming calm through work, through consistency, through truth. You don't get stronger by avoiding pressure. You get stronger by facing it with a new mindset, with a calm spirit, with a decision to lead yourself when others lose control. And the more you practice that, the more powerful you become. The world doesn't need more people who react fast. It needs more people who respond with wisdom, who choose growth over ego, who walk into conflict with clarity and walk out with peace. So here's your challenge. The next time you face conflict, train yourself to pause. Feel your emotions, but don't act on them. Look at the situation from above. Ask yourself, what response will move my life forward? Not what feels good in the moment, not what will make you feel right, but what will bring peace, growth, and progress. That's the kind of thinking that changes your life. Because when you train your mind to stay calm in conflict, you're not just surviving the moment, you're becoming someone stronger. You're becoming someone who leads, who decides, who builds, someone who doesn't give their power away to chaos. And in a world full of emotional storms, that kind of strength is rare. That kind of strength will take you further than any reaction ever could. And now it's your turn. Your turn to stop letting conflict control your emotions. Your turn to become the person who stays calm when others lose control. Your turn to lead with power, not anger, not pride, not fear, but calm, steady, focused power. The kind that builds the life you know you're meant to live. Start now and never stop training your mind to protect your peace. Number 4, walk away when someone tries to upset you. There comes a moment when you've got to stop letting people pull you into their chaos and start walking away like your peace matters more than their drama. Because if someone's trying to upset you, they're not just wasting your time. They're trying to take your power. And if you stay there, if you let them get to you, they win. But if you walk away with calm, with clarity, with self-respect, they lose access to your energy forever. You weren't born to be anyone's emotional punching bag. You weren't made to absorb everyone's bad attitude or carry the weight of their inner battles. Some people walk around with anger already building inside them. They're just looking for someone to pour it on. Don't let it be you. Don't let someone else's frustration turn into your reaction. You've got one job in those moments. Protect your emotional space. Not with loud words, not with ego, but with silence and distance. Walking away isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It means you've realized some battles aren't worth your energy. Some arguments don't need your voice. And some people aren't ready for your level of self-control. You see, the moment you engage with someone who's trying to provoke you, you lower your standards to meet them in a place they feel comfortable. They want you angry. They want you flustered. Because that means they've gotten inside your mind. And once they're in there, they control the moment. But when you walk away, they lose that control. They're left with their anger. You keep your peace. I'm not saying walk away from everything, but you need to learn to walk away from the things that try to steal your dignity. If someone's only goal is to provoke you, you're not obligated to respond. You don't owe them your time, your explanation, or your reaction. You owe yourself a life that's not constantly drained by people who thrive on conflict. You have to understand that walking away isn't avoidance, it's protection. You're protecting your goals, your mindset, your emotional balance. And when you've worked hard to build those things, you don't let anyone tear them down with a few angry words. You don't sacrifice your progress for a pointless confrontation. You don't fight every fire someone throws your way. Some fires burn out on their own if you stop giving them oxygen. There will be people who feel powerful when they see they've rattled you. They'll raise their voice. They'll say the thing that hits where it hurts. They'll twist the story to make you look like the bad one. But don't fall for it. They want to lure you into a place where you lose your cool. And when you do, they walk away feeling justified. But when you don't take the bait, when you calmly walk away, you rise above it. You win without saying a word. The world is full of noise, but that doesn't mean you need to add to it. The strongest people I've met are the ones who can walk away from chaos without flinching. They've got nothing to prove. They don't need to be the loudest in the room. They're focused on where they're going, not who's trying to drag them down. And if you want real peace, real power, you've got to become that kind of person. Ask yourself, how much of your time have you wasted explaining yourself to people who never wanted to understand you? How many times have you replayed an argument in your mind that never should have happened in the first place? How many goals were delayed? How much energy was lost because you stayed in a situation that only existed to disturb your peace? That's the cost of staying, and it's too high. You need to build the discipline to walk away early. Don't wait until the shouting starts. Don't wait until you've been emotionally drained. When you feel the shift, when you see the conversation turning toxic, when you sense the trap being set, step back, take a breath, exit with dignity. That single decision could save you hours of stress, days of anxiety, and years of regret. Some people will never change. Their goal is to trigger a reaction. It's their only way to feel significant. But you've outgrown that game. You don't need to defend yourself in every conversation. You don't need to prove your worth to people who don't value your presence. If they wanted peace, they'd speak with respect. If they wanted understanding, they'd listen instead of yelling. But if their only goal is to see you unravel, give them nothing. You deserve a life that isn't constantly disturbed by people who thrive on emotional tension. You deserve relationships that uplift you, conversations that add value, moments that build you. And those things can't happen when you're constantly on edge, ready to defend yourself against every negative person who crosses your path. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply walk away. The more you walk away from what drains you, the more you make space for what empowers you. You'll start to feel lighter. You'll gain clarity. You'll start to see how much energy you were wasting on people who were never trying to grow, only trying to pull others down to their level. That's the kind of realization that changes your entire life. And you don't need to explain your silence. You don't need to justify your exit. You don't need to make a scene. Just walk quietly, decisively, and trust that the strength you build by doing so will echo louder than any argument ever could. People may not understand your calm. They may mock it, but they'll feel it. They'll notice when they can't shake you, and eventually they'll respect you, even if they never admit it. Every time you choose to walk away from someone trying to upset you, you're not just avoiding drama, you're building the life you truly want. One built on discipline, self-awareness, and emotional control. That's the kind of life that creates freedom. That's the kind of life that gives you peace at night. That's the kind of life that attracts the right people, people who bring calm, not chaos. Now's the time to commit to it. Stop entertaining emotional traps. Stop dancing in conversations designed to make you feel small. Walk away when it's no longer healthy, no longer respectful, no longer aligned with who you're becoming. Not because you're afraid, but because you're done giving your peace to people who don't deserve it. You've got a future to protect, and you're done letting other people's storms ruin your sky. Walk away when it's time, and know that every step you take away from the wrong energy brings you closer to everything that's right for you. Stay grounded, stay focused, and never forget, silence is a choice, distance is power, and walking away is sometimes the greatest show of strength you will ever give. Number 5, choose silence over arguing when emotions rise. When your emotions rise and your heart starts racing, the greatest power you can show isn't in the words you speak, it's in the silence you choose. Because silence in a heated moment is not weakness, it's control. It's the ultimate act of strength when the world is expecting you to explode. Most people react. They don't respond, they react, and reaction is easy. Anyone can raise their voice. Anyone can throw out words in anger. But not everyone can remain silent when their pride is under attack, when their feelings are stirred, and when their ego is screaming to be heard. That takes training. That takes maturity. That takes wisdom. And if you can master that moment, if you can choose silence when everything inside you wants to argue, then you are ahead of the world. You've been there. We all have. You're in the middle of a conversation, and something is said that cuts deep. It twists something inside of you. You want to fire back. You want to prove your point. You want to make them understand how wrong they are, how much they've hurt you, how unfair this situation is. But here's the truth. No one hears clearly when emotions are high. No one listens when their heart is racing and their mind is clouded with anger or pain. Speaking in that moment does more damage than good. What you say will be misinterpreted, twisted, and often used against you later. So why hand someone the bullets they'll later shoot you with? Silence protects you. It buys you time. It gives you a space to think instead of simply reacting. In silence, your dignity is preserved, your clarity returns, your power grows. When you choose silence over conflict, you don't lose, you gain leverage. You keep the upper hand because you haven't surrendered your state of mind. People think silence is passive, but that's a lie. Silence is active self-mastery. It's a decision that says, I don't need to fight this battle. I don't need to justify myself. I don't need to waste my breath proving something to someone who's already decided not to understand me. That kind of mindset makes you dangerous, not to others, but to every destructive habit that once controlled your life. There's a difference between staying quiet because you're afraid and staying quiet because you're in control. I'm not talking about suppressing your truth or avoiding important conversations. I'm talking about pausing when you know the next words out of your mouth could tear something down that took years to build. I'm talking about resisting the urge to escalate a moment that already feels out of control. Because some arguments can cost you more than they're worth. Your peace, your respect, your relationships, your energy. And those things aren't cheap. Think about how many times you've argued and regretted what you said. You may have made a point, but at what cost? You can win the argument and still lose the person. You can be right and still be alone. You can raise your voice and lower the connection. Sometimes the loudest voice in the room is the most insecure one. But the one who can sit in stillness while emotions rage, that's the one with true power. Silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough not to damage something beyond repair. It means you're mature enough to wait for the right time, the right tone, the right words. Because timing is everything. A truth spoken in anger becomes a weapon. But that same truth spoken in calm becomes a bridge. And bridges bring people together, while weapons tear them apart. You don't always have to respond immediately. You don't always have to defend yourself. Sometimes the best response is no response. Let them wonder. Let them sit in the silence. Let the space speak for itself. Because when you don't react, you're showing that your emotions don't own you. You own them. You lead them, you guide them, and you release them when the moment is right. It's a rare skill to pause when provoked. It takes inner strength to hold back words that want to escape. It takes self-respect to walk away from a fight that offers no growth. And it takes emotional intelligence to know that not every comment needs a comeback. You don't need to match their energy. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard by the people who truly matter. Sometimes the calmest person in the room is the one making the deepest impact. You've got to train yourself to recognize those moments. Catch yourself when your pulse quickens. Notice when your breathing changes. That's your signal. That's your chance to reclaim the moment. Take a deep breath. Say nothing. Walk away if you need to. Let the moment pass. Let the heat die down. Then return to the situation with your strength intact. You see, when you stop arguing and start observing, you begin to see things clearly. You notice patterns. You notice people's real intentions. You learn who listens and who waits to reply. You see who actually values peace and who thrives on tension. And you learn something far more important. You realize how much energy you've wasted on things that don't build you. That realization is liberation. Silence won't make every problem disappear, but it will stop you from creating new ones. It will save you from burning bridges. It will preserve your focus for the things that actually deserve your time. It will make people notice that you're not easily shaken, that you don't operate out of impulse, that you move with purpose and discipline. And that's the kind of presence that commands respect without needing to ask for it. If you're serious about growth, you must learn this skill. When your emotions rise, pause. When you feel misunderstood, breathe. When someone tries to bait you, stay centered. Because once you master the art of silence, you master the battlefield of life. You stop being a victim of your reactions. You stop giving away your peace like it's free. And you start living with intention. This is how you protect your purpose. This is how you stay aligned with the life you're building. Because nothing good ever comes from losing control in the heat of the moment. But everything changes when you learn to pause, to reflect, to remain grounded. That's the version of you that gets things done. That's the version of you that builds real relationships. That's the version of you that cannot be broken. So the next time emotions run high, remember who you are, remember what you've built, and remember that silence, in that moment, might just be the loudest and most powerful move you'll ever make. Now take that silence and use it to your advantage. Use it to choose peace over pride. Use it to sharpen your focus. Use it to become the person who no longer gets thrown off by temporary storms. You've come too far to let your emotions control your story. Choose silence, choose strength, choose growth. And if you're ready to live at that level, where you no longer give your energy to chaos, keep listening, keep learning, and keep walking this path of self-mastery, because the journey is just beginning and the best version of you is still unfolding. Number 6, build inner strength by staying emotionally detached. When you stop letting your emotions control your actions, you don't become cold, you become powerful. Every time you choose calm over chaos, distance over drama, and control over reaction, you are building a version of yourself that is unbreakable. There is nothing soft about emotional detachment. It's not about pushing people away or acting like nothing matters. It's about protecting your energy, guarding your peace, and refusing to let temporary feelings sabotage long-term goals. You don't need to attach your worth to every comment, every disappointment, every trigger. Because the truth is, life won't always go your way. People will misunderstand you, opportunities will fall through, unexpected storms will show up. But your strength will always lie in how you respond, not in what happens. If you keep getting pulled into every emotional current, you'll drown, you'll burn out, you'll find yourself exhausted by things that shouldn't even touch you. That's why detachment is not avoidance, it's intelligence. It's learning to observe instead of absorb. It's stepping back to see the full picture instead of reacting to every little detail. When you practice detachment, you stop needing validation to feel stable. You stop depending on outcomes to feel secure. You stop allowing someone else's mood to dictate your inner peace. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to argue to prove your truth. You don't need to defend your decisions to people who wouldn't understand your vision, even if you explained it for hours. Emotional detachment is not about being numb, it's about being wise. You stay centered, you stay grounded. You become the calm in the chaos instead of the chaos in the calm. And once you master that state of mind, everything changes. Imagine being in the middle of a storm, criticism, rejection, pressure, and instead of panicking, you breathe. Instead of reacting, you think. Instead of exploding, you pause. That pause is where your power is. That space is where your clarity lives. When you detach, you regain control. You're no longer ruled by insecurity, resentment, or fear. You're free to move with purpose, not pressure. You won't need to chase what's not for you. You won't beg for love, attention, or acceptance. You'll understand that not everything deserves your time, your thoughts, or your energy. That kind of clarity is rare, but it's available to anyone who's willing to do the work. It takes discipline to not respond. It takes maturity to walk away. It takes vision to know what's worth fighting for and what's just noise. And the more you build that muscle of emotional detachment, the more unstoppable you become. Think about how much peace you've sacrificed by overthinking. Think about how many nights you've stayed up replaying conversations, worrying about what they meant, stressing over things you couldn't control. Now ask yourself, did any of that make your life better, or did it just drain you? This is why detachment matters. Not because you're heartless, but because you're done letting everything shake you. You've got a life to build, dreams to pursue, peace to protect, and none of that will survive if you're constantly at the mercy of your emotions. Some people will try to guilt you for your detachment. They'll say you've changed, and you have. You've stopped being reactive. You've stopped explaining yourself. You've stopped getting involved in things that take you nowhere. That's growth. That's strength. That's how you rise. You want to win? Then get out of your feelings. Feel them, yes. Acknowledge them. Understand them. But don't live in them. Don't let them drive the car. Let logic steer. Let purpose guide. Let vision lead. Emotions are signals, not commands. Use them as information, not instruction. The moment you stop reacting, people notice. You stop giving them access to your buttons. You stop being predictable. You become composed. And that's intimidating to those who depend on your emotional responses to manipulate you. But this journey isn't about pleasing people. It's about mastering yourself. You've been through enough to know that life doesn't hand out peace. You have to create it. You have to choose it when you're tempted to explode. You have to protect it when everything around you is pulling you into drama. That choice, over and over again, builds a person who's emotionally untouchable. And don't confuse emotional detachment with disconnection. You can still love people. You can still care deeply. You can still show up with compassion and kindness. But you do it from a place of choice, not compulsion. You're not driven by guilt, fear, or desperation. You're not trying to control outcomes or people. You're standing tall in who you are and letting the rest unfold without clinging. You weren't meant to be controlled by how others treat you. You weren't meant to lose your identity in every relationship. You weren't designed to sacrifice your sanity for situations that don't serve you. That's not strength, that's survival. And you're here to thrive, not just survive. Thriving starts when you reclaim your emotional power, when you stop attaching your worth to what happens outside of you and start anchoring it deep within you. This is what building inner strength really looks like. It's not loud, it doesn't seek approval. It's quiet, calm, deliberate. It's knowing that whatever comes your way, you have the ability to handle it, not by reacting, but by responding with intention. That's where true confidence is born, not from proving anything to anyone else, but from knowing you don't need to. So let people talk, let the world spin, let life throw its punches. You're not here to get pulled into everything. You're here to rise above it. You're here to move with quiet power, focused energy, and unshakable self-respect. And if you're ready to live like that, to stop overthinking, stop overreacting, and start protecting your peace, then you already know what to do. Train your mind daily. Step back when needed. Choose detachment over drama. Build that inner fortress brick by brick. Because the version of you that lives like this, that's the version that wins. Now take this energy and go. Go build the life that your emotions no longer sabotage. Go become the person who doesn't chase peace, but embodies it. You are not what happens to you. You are what you choose to become. And today, you choose strength. Number 7, strengthen your patience by practicing daily self-control. The reason most people never become who they're meant to be is because they never learn how to wait without breaking. Patience isn't just about waiting. It's about how you wait. It's about what you do with yourself in those long, uncomfortable moments when nothing is going your way. When you're grinding day after day and the results are still invisible. When you're biting your tongue while the world tries to test your limits. When you're silently holding back every urge to react, lash out, give in, or quit. That's where true strength is born. That's where your future is shaped, not in your big wins, but in your quiet restraint. Every day you're being tested. Every moment you're offered a choice. Discipline or impulse, control or chaos, patience or panic. And most people fold. They give in to the smallest discomfort. They want everything now, fast, easy, convenient. But nothing powerful ever grows in comfort. Nothing lasting is built on impulse. What separates the strong from the average isn't talent, luck, or timing. It's how much self-control they're willing to practice when nobody is watching and everything feels unfair. Look back on your life. How many setbacks could you have handled better if you had just paused? How many regrets came from acting too fast, speaking too soon, quitting too early? That's the cost of impatience. It steals your future one undisciplined moment at a time. But here's the truth. They don't teach in school. Self-control is a skill. It can be built, it can be trained, and once you master it, everything changes. Self-control is not about suppression. It's about redirection. It's about knowing that just because something feels urgent doesn't mean it deserves a reaction. It's knowing that just because you can respond doesn't mean you should. When you can sit in the fire of frustration and still hold your ground, that is power. When you can say no to yourself in the moment for the sake of your bigger future, that is mastery. You don't build this kind of strength by reading about it. You build it in the middle of the storm. You build it when the wrong person says the right thing to set you off and you stay silent. You build it when temptation shows up again and you walk away. You build it when your emotions scream for attention and you keep your focus. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. But it's how warriors are made. There's a part of you that already knows this. That version of you that's tired of being controlled by reactions. Tired of letting emotions sabotage progress. Tired of taking one step forward, 2 steps back. That version of you is craving control. Not control over others, but control over yourself. Over your cravings, your impulses, your distractions, your need for instant gratification. That's the battlefield. That's where you either rise or stay stuck. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your patience. Every time you delay a reaction, you sharpen your focus. Every time you resist the urge to rush, you grow a little more. This is a daily practice. It's not a one-time event. You don't become strong by chance. You become strong by repetition, by choosing control today, tomorrow, and again the day after that, until it becomes your default setting. You see, people will try to get a reaction out of you. The world will throw you into situations that poke your weaknesses. But your growth begins the moment you stop letting the external dictate your internal. Let them talk. Let the delay stretch. Let the pressure rise. You are not here to flinch. You are here to hold. And don't fall for the lie that patience is passive. It's not. It's one of the most aggressive forms of strength. Because while everyone else is panicking, forcing outcomes, chasing noise, you're moving in silence, growing deeper roots. When others are burning out, chasing instant results, you're storing up power. When they run out of steam, you're just getting started. Real self-control isn't just about what you avoid. It's about what you channel. The energy you'd use to argue, you pour into your craft. The time you'd waste reacting, you invest in discipline. The words you could have thrown in anger, you replace with action. And slowly, day by day, you become a force no one can shake. You become dangerous, not because you're explosive, but because you're composed. Not because you react, but because you wait. You observe, you move when it matters. That kind of presence is rare, and it's respected. People can feel it. They know when they're around someone who doesn't flinch, someone who doesn't get baited, someone who's anchored. That's the kind of energy that changes rooms, shapes destinies, and commands respect without ever raising a voice. And if you want to become that kind of person, someone who doesn't fold, someone who doesn't chase chaos, someone who's focused, unbothered, and patient, you start with one decision. Practice control daily. Not once in a while. Not when it's easy. But every single day. In the small things. In the quiet moments. In the tests no one sees. When your mind tells you to quit early, stay one more hour. When you want to scroll, pick up a book. When you feel the urge to speak, hold it in and listen. When you want to take the shortcut, take the longer road. These aren't just habits, they are weapons. They build a version of you that's prepared for anything. Because at the end of the day, your future won't be determined by what happens to you, but by how well you can control what happens within you. That's your real power. That's your edge. And that's how you go from surviving your emotions to mastering your path. So let everyone else rush. Let them burn out chasing quick results. You're not in the same race. You're building for the long haul. And the one who wins in the end isn't the one who moved the fastest. It's the one who never lost their grip on themselves. Now take this energy into your next decision, into your next challenge, into your next moment of discomfort. Don't just react. Choose. Don't just wish. Discipline. Because the person you're becoming, they're not built in a day. They're built in silence, in patience, in self-control, day by day, moment by moment. And if you felt this message deep in your gut, if something inside you knows it's time to step up and gain control over the chaos inside, then don't wait. Start now, because every second you delay is another second wasted being someone you're not meant to be. This is your moment. Own it. Strengthen your patience. Master your control. And become the calm, unshakable force you were born to be. Number 8. Protect your peace by refusing to take offense. The moment you decide that nobody has the power to offend you, you win. Because the truth is, offense is not given, it's taken. And every time you choose to take it, you hand over your peace to someone else. You hand over your energy, your mood, your clarity, your day. For what? For words you can't control? For opinions that don't feed you? For people who don't even know your story? That's not a strength, that's surrender. And if you want to truly protect your peace, you've got to stop letting every careless comment take root in your spirit. There comes a time when you realize that emotional freedom isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about refusing to be baited by it. It's not about living in a world where everyone respects you. It's about building a world within yourself that doesn't get shaken when they don't. The most powerful person in the room is never the loudest. It's the one who doesn't react, doesn't flinch, doesn't crumble when misunderstood. That kind of power doesn't come from being liked, it comes from being grounded. You see, most people walk through life with open wounds, just waiting to be touched. And when someone brushes up against that wound, they explode. They blame the world, they blame others, but they never stop to realize that the real pain is coming from inside. The offense they feel isn't about what was said, it's about what hasn't been healed. And as long as you carry those wounds, you'll keep giving strangers the power to ruin your peace. But when you begin to heal, when you start owning your emotions, when you stop needing the world to validate your worth, everything changes. You stop reacting to every opinion, you stop defending your value, you stop chasing apologies that will never come. And suddenly your peace is no longer something you have to protect. It's something that protects you. Think about it. How many days have you wasted replaying something someone said? How many nights did you stay awake, offended, hurt, frustrated, over words that won't matter a year from now? That's the trap. That's how the world keeps you stuck. Not by hurting you, but by keeping you so emotionally reactive that you can't focus on your purpose. But here's the truth. You decide what gets your attention. You decide what deserves your emotional investment. And 90% of what offends you doesn't deserve a reaction. It deserves silence. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know that peace is too expensive to trade for petty drama. You don't have to clap back. You don't have to defend every attack. You don't have to prove yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Sometimes the most powerful move is to say nothing, feel nothing, and keep moving like you never heard it. Because not every battle is worth your energy. Some things are meant to be ignored. Some people are meant to be outgrown. And some moments are meant to remind you how far you've come. You've got to ask yourself, what am I giving energy to that drains me? What am I allowing into my space that steals my joy? What am I responding to that doesn't deserve a single second of my life? Because the moment you become selective about your responses, you take back control. You stop living in reaction mode. You stop letting the outside dictate the inside. And that's where true growth happens. That's where inner strength is born. Not when you control others, but when you master yourself. When you can smile through the shade. When you can keep your focus while others try to distract you. When you can keep your spirit clean in a world that thrives on chaos. That's power. That's peace. That's freedom. Don't let a few careless words break what took you years to build. Don't let one toxic comment pull you out of character. Don't give people access to places in your heart they haven't earned. The more you evolve, the more you'll realize how little you need to respond. Not every insult is a reflection of you. Sometimes it's just projection. Sometimes it's just noise. And the moment you stop personalizing it, you get your power back. You've got to train your mind to pause before reacting. To ask, is this worth it? Is this helping me grow? Or is this just another test to see if I'll stay grounded? You'll be surprised how much peace you protect when you stop taking everything personally. When you realize that not everything requires your involvement. That sometimes the best response is no response. That sometimes the most powerful move is to rise above. And let's be honest, there will always be people who try to trigger you. Not because they know you, but because they can't stand that they don't have what you have. Your peace threatens their chaos. Your calmness exposes their insecurity. Your focus makes their distraction obvious. And the moment you react, you validate their need for control. But when you stay centered, you starve their game, you take away their weapon, and they're left powerless. So instead of reacting, breathe. Instead of explaining, walk away. Instead of proving, keep building. Because every second spent defending your worth is a second lost from becoming your future. Let them misunderstand you. Let them misjudge you. Let them talk. But don't let them move you. Don't let them steal what you fought so hard to find. You didn't come this far to be emotionally hijacked by strangers. You didn't do all this inner work to crumble over someone's careless opinion. You didn't rise from your lowest point just to sink into pettiness again. You're built for more. You're wired for higher ground. And the higher you climb, the quieter you become. Not because you're weak, but because you've finally learned what deserves your peace and what doesn't. So if you're tired of being triggered, of reacting, of losing control over things that don't matter, make the decision today to protect your peace at all costs. Refuse to take offense. Refuse to be baited. Refuse to let the world shape your emotional landscape. And if this message hit you deep, if you know you've been giving too much energy to the wrong things, then this is your wake-up call. Reclaim your focus. Rebuild your emotional fortress and protect your peace like your future depends on it, because it does. The next level of your life requires a version of you that isn't easily shaken, so build that version. Start today. Stay silent when it's petty. Stay grounded when it's tempting. And never forget, your peace is your power. Guard it with everything you've got. Number 9, respond to criticism with quiet confidence and clarity. They didn't break you when they judged you, and they never will, as long as you remember who you are. There's a strength that comes when you stop shrinking for approval, when you stop apologizing for your growth, when you stop explaining your path to people who never had the courage to walk their own. Criticism is inevitable, but your reaction, that's your power. The world will always have something to say. Let them talk. Let them question you. But never let their opinions steal your presence, because you don't need to shout to prove your worth. You don't need to argue to validate your vision. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stand tall, speak calmly, and let your results speak louder than your defense. Most people react to criticism with either silence or rage. They either shut down or blow up, but neither builds strength. Strength is when you respond not to defend your ego, but to affirm your clarity. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be aggressive. All you need is certainty, and that certainty comes from knowing your intention. When you're clear on why you're doing what you're doing, no criticism can shake you. No insult can distract you. No judgment can make you doubt your direction. There's a peace that settles into your soul when you stop letting every outside voice pull you in 100 directions. Because not all feedback is true, not all opinions are wise, and not all critics deserve your attention. Some people speak from fear, some speak from envy, some speak just to feel powerful for a moment. But you don't need to absorb every word that's thrown at you. You have the right to listen with discernment, to ask yourself, is this helping me grow? Or is this just noise designed to pull me down? Quiet confidence is built in those moments when you're under fire, but you don't flinch. When you're misunderstood, but you don't rush to defend. When you're criticized, and instead of crumbling, you use it as fuel. That's power. Not the kind of power that needs applause, but the kind that radiates from a person who's deeply rooted. Someone who knows they're here for a purpose bigger than approval. Someone who knows that responding with calm clarity makes a louder impact than any emotional reaction ever could. Think back to the last time someone criticized you. Not constructive feedback, but criticism rooted in negativity, jealousy, or misunderstanding. Did it shake you? Did it make you second guess yourself? Or did you realize that their words said more about them than they did about you? The moment you understand that most criticism is a reflection, not a truth, you start to respond differently. You stop taking it personally. You stop carrying it like a wound. You see it for what it is, and you move forward without letting it weigh you down. And don't confuse quiet confidence with weakness. It takes far more strength to stay calm when being attacked than it does to lash out. It takes more courage to respond with reason than to scream in defense. Because when you're truly confident, you don't need to convince anyone. You let your actions do the talking. You let your discipline show your dedication. You let your work reflect your values. And you understand that clarity beats noise every single time. The people who build empires, the ones who transform lives, who lead movements, they all face criticism. But the difference is, they don't let it break them. They don't chase validation. They stay grounded in truth. They take what's useful, discard what isn't, and keep going. That's how they rise, not by silencing the critics, but by refusing to let the critics silence them. And you can do the same. You can train yourself to pause when you feel triggered, to breathe when you want to react, to ask yourself, what would the strongest version of me do right now? Would that version yell? Would they shrink? Or would they respond with calm certainty, knowing that no outside voice defines their worth? You already know the answer. So if you're feeling attacked, misjudged, or unappreciated, don't collapse, don't retreat, don't abandon your path. Just look at the criticism with clear eyes. Ask yourself if there's any truth in it. If there is, grow. If there isn't, let it go. But don't carry it around like it's your identity, because it's not. It's just a reflection of where someone else is on their journey, and it's not your job to fix their vision. Remember, your silence doesn't mean you're weak. Your calmness doesn't mean you're passive. Sometimes the way you carry yourself when criticized is the loudest message you'll ever send. It tells the world, I know who I am. I know why I do what I do. And no amount of noise can drown out that clarity. You weren't put here to play small. You weren't born to live your life reacting to the insecurities of others. You have a mission. You have a fire. You have a purpose that won't be fulfilled by constantly trying to explain yourself. Stop wasting your breath on critics who haven't built what you've built. Stop looking for approval from people who couldn't handle your journey. And stop letting criticism make you forget how far you've already come. You're not here to prove, you're here to build. You're not here to defend, you're here to grow. And you're not here to please everyone. You're here to stay true to the vision that was planted inside you. Respond to criticism with quiet confidence and clarity. Let your life speak louder than your words. And watch how the world begins to respect what it once tried to tear down. If this message resonates with you, if you're tired of letting every opinion shake you, then make a decision today to rise above. Not with anger, not with fear, but with a calm, unshakable presence that says, I know who I am, and I'm not going back. Because once you master the art of quiet confidence, no criticism can break you. It only sharpens your focus. So stay grounded, stay clear, and never let the noise pull you off your path. You've come too far to look back now. Let the critics speak. You've got work to do. Number 10, practice gratitude every time someone tests your limits. Every time someone pushes you to your limit, you are handed a hidden gift disguised as a challenge, and your greatest power is learning to say thank you. It's hard to see it in the moment. When frustration surges, when patience thins, when your boundaries feel under siege, your first instinct might be to resist or fight back. But what if those moments aren't attacks against you at all? What if they are invitations, opportunities to grow stronger, to sharpen your character, to deepen your understanding of yourself? When you begin to embrace gratitude at your breaking points, everything changes. The pressure that once threatened to crush you transforms into the furnace that forges your resilience. Think about the last time someone tested your patience. Someone crossed a line or pushed you harder than you thought you could endure. Maybe it was a harsh word, a thoughtless action, or a situation that seemed unfair. In those seconds, your mind likely screamed for justice, for recognition, for an outlet. But beneath that instinct lies a profound truth. Every test is a chance to practice gratitude for your strength in handling it. Gratitude doesn't mean you accept poor treatment or become a doormat. It means you recognize the challenge as fuel for your growth. When you feel gratitude in those intense moments, you step out of victimhood and into mastery. Gratitude in adversity rewires your brain. It creates a new way to respond, where you choose calm over chaos, wisdom over reaction. This shift rewrites your story from one of struggle to one of empowerment. Every test becomes a lesson in patience, humility, and grace. You start to see your limits not as weaknesses, but as thresholds, doors waiting to be crossed, so you can access higher levels of strength and peace. What makes this transformation possible is the recognition that discomfort is not the enemy. Discomfort is the currency of growth. When someone presses your buttons, it's a mirror reflecting areas where you can expand, that irritation, that frustration. It's not just noise to shut out. It's a signal guiding you toward a better version of yourself. Gratitude amplifies your ability to listen to that signal instead of drowning it out with anger or resentment. It's also a radical act of self-love. To choose gratitude in difficult moments is to refuse to let others control your inner world. It's saying, you don't get to steal my peace. When you protect your energy with gratitude, you rise above petty conflicts and petty battles. You reclaim your power, showing that no external force can diminish your inner calm unless you allow it. The people who achieve extraordinary success, who live with unwavering confidence, are not those who avoided tests or trials. They are those who embraced them. They understood early on that life will push you hard. People will test your limits again and again, but what separates winners is their response. Instead of cursing the challenge, they thank it. They see every obstacle as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Imagine this. The next time you face provocation, instead of reacting, pause, take a deep breath, silently say, thank you. Feel the shift inside. This simple practice rewires your response and deflates tension. You become untouchable by frustration, unbreakable by stress. Gratitude becomes your shield, your secret weapon against life's inevitable tests. This does not happen overnight. It is a muscle you build daily. Start small. Be grateful for minor annoyances. Thank the driver who cuts you off for reminding you to breathe. Appreciate the colleague who challenges your ideas for sharpening your perspective. Gradually, you will notice how these small moments prepare you for bigger tests. You become more resilient, more centered, more aware that you control your reactions. Your peace becomes a fortress. This mindset also deepens your empathy. When you view challenges through gratitude, you start to see the humanity behind the person testing you. Maybe they're struggling themselves, maybe they're unaware of their impact. This understanding softens your heart without weakening your boundaries. You protect your peace, not with bitterness, but with compassion wrapped in strength. One of the most powerful transformations happens when gratitude replaces resentment. Holding grudges drains your energy, blurs your vision, and blocks your progress. But gratitude frees you. It releases the chains of bitterness and sets you free to focus on what matters: your growth, your mission, your happiness. When you thank those who test you, you're reclaiming your narrative and refusing to be a prisoner of past wounds. Now ask yourself, how many battles have you fought that only left you exhausted? How many conflicts have drained your spirit and clouded your mind? Imagine what would happen if you met those moments with gratitude instead. You would stop fighting against the current and start swimming with it, gaining momentum instead of losing strength. You would rise through every challenge, transforming pressure into power. It's not about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring harmful behavior. It's about owning your response so completely that no external force can unbalance you. It's about mastering the art of inner peace through gratitude's relentless focus. Every test becomes a gift wrapped in disguise, and you become the master of unshakable calm. Take a moment right now and visualize your biggest challenge. Picture it in full color: the frustration, the stress, the tension. Now imagine saying thank you to that challenge. Feel how that simple phrase changes your perspective. The energy shifts, the weight lifts. You aren't a victim, you are a warrior. And warriors thrive because they welcome every challenge as fuel for their fire. Your journey toward unbreakable peace begins with gratitude practiced in moments that demand it most. When life tests your limits, don't resist. Don't react out of pain or anger. Instead, reach for gratitude. Thank those moments for revealing your strength. Thank those people for pushing you to grow. Thank yourself for choosing growth over bitterness. If you make this your habit, you will discover a power few ever know. A power rooted not in circumstance, but in unwavering inner strength. You will become untouchable by stress, unshaken by conflict, unstoppable in your purpose. So today, start practicing. Every time you feel tested, whisper a quiet, powerful thank you. Watch how it transforms your experience and unlocks a version of yourself that thrives no matter what. If this message speaks to your soul, then commit right now to this practice. Let gratitude be your guide through every trial, your anchor in every storm, and your light when everything feels dark. Because the greatest strength comes not from avoiding limits, but from embracing them with gratitude and emerging stronger every single time.